welcome to Eden Fractal. We're here for our 99th event, almost 2 years, almost 100 events. This has been a wild ride so far. Thanks so much for being here with us and watching. Thanks so much, Eric and Candy and Will and Zaal and Rosmari for joining today. Hope that you're all having a wonderful day. Feel free to jump in and share any thoughts or say hello if you'd like. Otherwise, I'll get in to share a presentation for what we are doing here at Eden Fractal in general and what we have on the agenda for today, which is Fractal forums, a new kind of consensus process, kind of old in a way too. We've been thinking of this for years, but I'm excited to reintroduce it to the community and try out a new version of it as well. For anyone who's not familiar, Eden Fractal is a community that creates innovative games, shows, and tools. We have a vision that all communities and organizations should have the tools and methods to make the best possible decision making, collective decision making that's fair, fast, and fun. We have a page here where you can watch several videos and learn more about our vision and how we came to consensus about why it's so important and why this is our vision. We're also on a mission to implement fractal decision-making processes throughout society via collaborative research, development, education, gamification, and community engagement. That's how we are enabling all communities and organizations to make the best decision-making possible. And you can learn more about our mission here. There's a link here when you go to edenfractal.com that you can search for it, and you can find videos and much more about our mission, where we use our collaborative process to decide our mission. And we host weekly events. For the past 2 years now, we've been hosting weekly events to optimize decision-making with these consensus games. And everybody's welcome to join. We love to meet new people and collaborate. And it's a great way to collaborate with talented innovators and network with people and learn these fractal decision-making processes and help create the future of creative coordination. We produce videos of each weekly event, and you can check all the most recent videos in our Telegram chat, t.me/EdenFractal, and the videos on the website too, although we're still catching up on some of the most recent videos there. And also we have a YouTube channel too that I encourage everybody to subscribe to as well, youtube.com/@EdenCreators, which is for some reason taking a little while to load right now. But yeah, everybody's welcome to join the meetings, and we're also building tools too on multiple different networks to allow people to use these fractal decision-making tools. And feel free to reach out with any questions in the group chat, RSVP, and share with friends. lou.ma/EdenFractal every Wednesday at 16 UTC. I encourage you to join and invite people so we can share all these amazing processes throughout society. So this week, we're busy planting seeds of weekly innovation, and we had a great discussion last week about our packaging, product packaging, to help communities optimize decision making with the tools that we're building and the apps that we're building and so forth. And so now we're preparing to explore new topics through an engaging voting process game, which is the Fractal Forums, to further refine our growth. And so everybody's welcome to join and share their thoughts in the Telegram chat. As you can see, Eden Creators, I recommend giving them a follow too. That's a studio that is doing a lot of the video production and stuff like that, where I post, as well as Rosmari, on these. And so today, Fractal Forums, the way it's going to work, it's a type of event that is based around a collaborative conversation process to enrich our discussions here at Eden Fractal, and this could work for all communities as well. So it features new kinds of Cagendas games that allows community members to suggest, upvote, and coordinate discussion topics, then form consensus on key issues during our events in a more dynamic manner than we usually play Cagendas, which is like a game where we can propose topics each week. I have it linked here actually at edenfractal.com/welcome. So if anyone wants to learn about how we choose topics each week, this is a process that we have here. This page still has some work to be done, but I'm getting a bit lost because that link isn't working right. So anyway, you can find it here. If you go to the table of contents, then there's what is Cagenda section where you can find where it's working. If it's working, never mind that. So yeah, but basically we usually propose topics like that, where we propose one topic per week, but now we're trying a new system with the Fractal Forums where anybody can propose a topic by writing a message in Telegram or in an app called Slido, which has a really neat integration with Zoom, and it has a question and answers and poll section where people can just suggest topics and then upvote them directly in Zoom. So everybody can do it easily. And then once I finish with this presentation, we'll have a few minutes for everybody to either suggest their own topics or upvote topics, and we'll be able to do that throughout the entire event. And then whichever topic receives the most votes, we'll discuss first. And then whenever anybody gets tired of a topic or wants to move on to the next one, anybody can propose to move to the next topic that has the second most upvotes by typing next topic in the Zoom chat or the Eden Fractal Telegram chat. And then when that happens, to kind of make like a fun game out of it and try to experiment with a new way of doing these conversations, when somebody says next topic, that will trigger a 1-minute countdown. Rosemary put up a timer, and then any other participant, if they want to keep talking about that topic, then they can write same topic or say no, same topic, and then that's basically a veto, and then they'd stay on the topic if that happened. And then if somebody else wants to propose to change the topic, they can. And then also, if just half of people agree to just move on to the next topic, then we can just do that. And then we can just do that right away too. So it's kind of a way to have a more dynamic conversation and feel and get a better feel for when people want to move on to a topic, and also be able to upvote the most important topics. So if anybody has any topics on your mind that are related to fractal decision-making process and consensus and so forth, then feel free to share them in the Slido poll now. So far, there's 4 topics up that I had suggested. Everybody in the Zoom chat, if you go to your chat, then you should get an invitation to this Slido, and you can just write it directly in Zoom. Basically, you'll see a little S button that is the green color, and then you can just type a question like, I don't know, what is blank or something like that, and then hit send, and then you'll be able to upvote here. As you can see, Rosmari put some of them up here. You can upvote and downvote and so forth. So everybody can start doing that now, and I'll be finished with the presentation momentarily so we can move on to that game. But also before that too, I wanted to talk a little bit more about ingenious topics and a little bit more details about this, because we're also playing a similar conversation process and a new kind of fractal forum with a Cagendas game that we're calling Optopics or Optopics at the second Optimism Town Hall, which we just launched last week. And the second one's happening tomorrow, and everyone's welcome to join. This is working closely with Optimism Fractal, with the Optimism Fractal Respect, where people can upvote topics with respect and a voting app called Snapshot. So I welcome everybody to join. It's a really exciting announcement, and we're pioneering these fractal decision-making processes at the Optimism Town Hall and Optimism Fractal. So really cool stuff. This version is pretty similar, but we're also not using Respect right now because we're using Slido, and currently we're working on the technical solutions for Eden Fractal, but looking forward to integrating Respect into this kind of Fractal Forums game in the coming weeks too. And you can find more details in this post in t.me/Eden Fractal. And then also, one thing that you might be interested to know too is that we've been developing Fractal Forum since 2021 for about 3 years now. There's an article I published back in April 22 about Fractal Forums, kind of a messy article, but it had a bunch of ideas. And there's a whole bunch of conversations that people have been discussing, videos where you can learn more about this concept of Fractal Forums there in this article. I won't click it because I had issues before, but you can find videos there. It's pretty interesting. And we actually had that kind of proposal to start a Fractal Forums event at the same time as Eden Fractal. There's also an original proposal that I wrote for Eden Fractal 2 years ago, and we had both of these, but we decided to just focus on Eden Fractal. But now that Eden Fractal is more mature, I'm really excited to try out Fractal Forums. I think there's a lot of possibility to use these kind of fractal consensus games and decision-making process that we use at Eden Fractal, but to do it for deciding topics. Also kind of similar how we did it for Eden Fractal's mission and other things like that too. But lots of things we can explore in the coming weeks. And so I'm very excited to try it with you all. You can learn more about it in that post, and hope everybody else is excited too. You can check out Rosemary's post too about Optopics or OP topics, where you can find links to the Optimism Town Hall and how we're playing a similar kind of consensus game and a similar kind of fractal forum here too. So that's at t.me/Eden Fractal once again, and at optimistics.io/OP topics. Then you can find out more about this Optopics game. And there's a whole bunch of great information here. Really cool Opie, the octopus, we're calling him, a new cool Cagendas game. For anyone who's not familiar, optimismfractal.com too. We have these meetings every Thursday at 17 UTC, a community dedicated to awarding public goods creators on optimism and fostering collaboration with the decision-making tools pioneered by Eden Fractal. And everybody's welcome to join Optimism Fractal on Thursday at 17 UTC. Also check out the videos to learn more. And then the Optimism Town Hall, which is now happening on Thursday at 18 UTC, where we're pioneering this kind of fractal forum Optopics process. And you can see optimistic.io/Optimism Town Hall to learn more about Cagendas and these different processes like that too, and how you can get involved. So encourage everybody to join and RSVP. We're doing really helpful things, and amazing people are contributing here. So thanks everybody for listening to my presentation. That has been it for that. Now we're going to get into fractal forums, and basically I had suggested these 4 topics about discussing fractal forums and Optimism Town Hall, and then also about Eden Fractal's 100th event and 2nd anniversary. We might want to prepare for that because the 100th event is coming up next week, and 2nd anniversary is coming up in June 7th. June 7th, 2022 is the first event. So in like 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks, we'll be having the 2nd anniversary. Might want to do some sort of party or celebration or something special for it. We discussed a little bit. Also, last week we had a great discussion about product packaging for fractal software, and we continue this discussion. And I also mentioned engaging with Base and the Optimism Superchain. Base is doing really exciting stuff with Optimism. It's run by Coinbase, but it's a decentralized L2 that has great goals to bring billions of users on chain. They're doing really exciting stuff, and I see potential collaborations for Eden Fractal to work with Base going forward in the new year. I see now you can see the polls too. on Slido. So if anyone wants to go, once again, you can go to the chat app or the chat section of Zoom and find the poll. I can also share a link in the Zoom chat too, but now you can just hit thumbs up, and I guess we'll just give it like a minute or two before we jump into any of these topics. If anyone wants to say hello or share any thoughts on your mind, then feel free to do so. Otherwise, I suppose we could also talk about Fractal Forums and Optimism Town Hall too, because that has the most upvotes, but maybe if anybody else wants to upvote, because it seems like we have 6 people here, 7 people here. Welcome, Gudasol, by the way. Thanks for joining us. So you joined. Hopefully you're having a great day. And yeah, so far we have, yep, we're seeing some moves. So now there's a 3-way tie between Fractal Forums and Optimism Town Hall, product packaging for Fractal software, and what is the name of our product. And I will stop talking because that's been a long presentation. So hope that hasn't been too much for you. Maybe I'll stop the screen share and then I'll bring it back up shortly and we'll just see how everybody's doing. And for some reason, thank you, Will, for the applause. And I accidentally pinned Candy. So again, now we're all here. Because there's a 3-way tie, if anyone wants to advocate either way as well, then I suppose we could just go with whatever anybody thinks is most exciting. But I would love to hear from other people too. I've been talking enough, so somebody else jump in, please.
Has everyone voted?
I don't think so. If anybody doesn't know how to vote or is confused about the process, then please let us know. Or if you want to just share it in the chat, you can too. But you should see a app that makes it quite easy to do so in the Zoom interface. And I just shared the chat there as well. Another idea too. So this topic proposal for Fractal Forums, I kind of mentioned that it's been in development for a while, but also trying a new thing here. So a lot of times we take turns where we each speak for like a few minutes each, and we kind of go around a circle. But we could do that today. But also, we just figured try out a new topic system too. So if anybody has ideas about how to best organize the meeting, or if you want to try a different way or something like that, then feel free as well. Or feel free to raise your hand like Will did there. So now I'll pass it over to Will. Will, what's on your mind?
No, thank you. Just part of some advocacy, right, for the topics that are in there. I would say if it helps make your decision easier to categorize these topics, I would probably lean towards upvoting ones that are related to each other. So that way it inspires a natural flow of conversation from one topic to the next. But that's just my point of view and my perspective, and just a suggestion for anybody else who's yet to vote. But this is a very cool app. I like the integration here, and I'm gonna start using this for my Zoom meetings for sure.
Okay, excellent. Well, thanks for the recommendation, Will. It's very thoughtful and makes a lot of sense. And yeah, thanks for the feedback too. Hope you enjoyed the app. Maybe I just uploaded Fractal Forums and Optimism Town Hall because I think I gave a good overview of it. I see the second topic is what is the name of our product. So if anybody else wants to vote, then feel free to do so and change the order. And we also have our system where if anyone wants to move on to the next topic at any time, you can just write new topic in the chat, or feel free to just say it out loud too if you like as well. But that way we can get started with some topics. And I feel like that might also be helpful if I just give a little bit more context too, in case I know there's a lot of information. So if any part of it was confusing, then feel free to ask any questions. Don't be shy, or share any other feedback or thoughts. Very happy to hear it. But yeah, maybe I'll just go give a little brief overview of the Fractal Forums and Town Hall, just to provide a bit more information, but I already gave a lot, so I'll just do it really brief. And I also want to share for Will and everybody else too. For anyone who's interested, this is the app that we're using. It's Slido. You can check out slido.com. It says it's the easiest way to make your meetings interactive. Also potentially related to Eric's suggestion, what is the name of our product? This is like a very well done product. You can see they have a product on their first tab where they have a product tour and they have live polls and live Q&A and word cloud and quiz and service and analytics. And we could maybe say that the respect game is the easiest way to make your meetings interactive too, or it's up there at least. Right now it's not the easiest because we still have to build the software better, but it can make meetings very interactive and it can engage participants with live polls and Q&A and so forth too. So it's a very complementary tool for respect games and fractal decision-making processes and anybody who's hosting interactive meetings. So we've been using it here at Eden Fractal for the past year. For the past year, I got a year subscription, and there's a free plan, but also there's a whole bunch of features. This has like hundreds of people working for this company. It's been around for like 10 years. So they have a very detailed feature set, and some of the features are paid. So I got like the basic plan last year, and we've used it probably at 5 or 10 Eden Fractal events. And we also use that some Optimism Fractal events where we did retro pitches too. It's a great way to like do ranking and stuff like that. You can do ranked choice voting and audience Q&A, which is what we're using right now, and also all sorts of different stuff too. I'm also looking at integrations where people can actually play the respect game with the Slido too. But yeah, so I encourage people to check it out if they're interested in this kind of thing. And then that's what we're using for Fractal forums. So I suppose maybe while I'm on the topic, once again, if anybody wants to move on to the next topic at any point, then feel free to write next topic. But I'll also maybe just go into a little bit more detail about Fractal forums, Optimum Town Hall. I think I already gave a pretty good overview here, but I really encourage people to read the article and check out the event. The article has a lot more information that I kind of just give like a really high level overview. It's a new weekly event and collaborative forum dedicated to hosting impactful, respectful conversations of optimism. And it's pioneering interactive ways to optimize meeting time with fun social games that enable community members to prioritize topics, deliberate democratically, and form consensus on key issues by voting with on-chain reputation tokens. This is a product, in a sense, Optimism Town Hall. It's an event and a forum coming from Optimism Fractal, and it immediately follows Optimism Fractal weekly events. It happens on Thursday, 18 UTC, and everybody's welcome to participate in discussions about governance, also about building joy and building optimism and all sorts of things related to optimism, and pioneer a lot of these processes and help lead the Optimism Collective. So you can see some synergies about Optimism Fractal here, and how it works with the respect game and how people can vote with respect, which is one of our decision-making processes, or I would say a primitive for our decision-making processes, and you can learn more about respect and so forth, and how this was approved by the Optimism Fractal Council. I think I mentioned this last week, but yeah, basically the decision-making processes of Eden Fractal being used by Optimism Fractal to elect a council who decide to start playing Cagendas at Optimism Town Hall. And you can see the rules where anybody can propose a topic with the Cagendas at Optimism Fractal and Optimism Town Hall. There's a snapshot space where we can propose topics and then vote on topics, and then there's some rules there and some next steps too, such as the Optopics game and more details. We've also, I posted an Eden Town Hall for the past year as well, or for a year, where you can find out more links and public goods games and ways to get involved. And then also you can watch the most recent 2 videos of Optimism Fractal events for Optimism Fractal Season 3, when we first started to introduce Cagendas. And then we also play the respect game there, of course, every week. And then in the past week, where we were exploring the town hall and Cagendas in much more detail, and there's timestamps about each one of these 2, as well as related posts. The Optopics game, which is quite similar to the Fractal forums. It's a game that allows community members to suggest, vote, and dynamically coordinate on topics during your events. And this is using Snapshot rather than Slido, and allows people to use respect. So it's a really nice feature, and we have this cool artwork and more details about Cagendas, and there's rules here too, which are pretty similar to the rules that we suggested for the Fractal forums. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this can work too, especially this dynamic where, like, I imagine if there's many people at the event and like lots of people really want to discuss different topics, and people can be upvoting topics and vetoing topics and just entertaining topics, it could be quite fun. And also enable people to really cooperate in like live events like this much better than ever. So I think that's one of our products. And this is the name of the product, to Eric's question too. In the Optopics and Opie topics, we have some nice branding too, but also I think probably to Eric's point, like the respect game and some other ones that are maybe more foundational. But I think we have lots of products though, and Opie topics and Optimum Town Hall are some examples of it. And then I suppose too, just while I'm at it, because this was part of the topic proposal, about the Fractal forums, and I didn't really share that link, but there is this article from April 2022 that it's really messy, because at this point I didn't really know how to make articles so well, so there's like a bunch of like random art here, but this was some art that I was really proud of making some years ago. And then you can find out, like there's some tweets where we talked about the original Eden community implementing the Fractal forums process, and you can watch videos where we discussed it. There's a little overview here too, and I originally had like an incentive structure. This was before Eden Fractal started, where we weren't sure if we we're going to start Eden Fractal or this. You could just read on the screen if you want to read more details, but basically the idea was to have video calls with this Fractal process where people discuss a topic and then go into breakout rooms, and then like people discuss the topic like what's the mission, or what is the best thing to do here or that, or you know, all sorts of different questions. And then basically elect people who have the best ideas to answer those questions. And I had ideas about how we could like have incentives to coordinate this community and all sorts of stuff that I haven't looked back at in quite a while, but lots of interesting stuff. So if anyone want to check it out, then you could. It might be interesting for historical stuff. And then there's a bunch of videos too, where we discussed this back in January 2022, and some short clips where you can learn more. So that's kind of like the idea, like where the idea came from. There's a guy named Chuck who used to join at the Eden Fractal meetings in the beginning, and he was I haven't seen him much lately, but he's a big leader in the community, and he shared this message, which is kind of like the original part of it. I don't know, it's more over here, yeah. So people can check out that if you're interested, but this is also kind of old stuff too. So lots of things to think about here, but we're trying out this new iteration now with Fractal forums here at Eden Fractal, and there's lots we can experiment with basically that we're also experimenting with at the Optimism Town Hall and with Opie topics. So figured that this was a timely timely event to share this with, and for everybody who's interested in implementing fractal decision-making processes, this is something that you can implement in your community as well, or your organization. Once you start playing the respect game, then it allows you to do other things like vote with respect on topics, so that you can be able to discuss the things that you're most interested in, or that the community is most interested in, and have like very smooth conversations. So I suppose that's all I have for this topic. I see that Eric's topic about what is the name of our product got some upvotes. But according to the rules of the game, we don't move on to the next topic until somebody says next topic. So I'm going to close my presentation there on that topic. And if anybody has any thoughts about it, we'd love to hear it. If not, then if anybody wants to move on to the next topic, then let us know. Okay, I see Candy said next topic. So the way the rules work here, thanks Candy for the interaction, appreciate it. And I hope you all enjoyed the topic. So the way this works is that either half of us need to say next topic, or we have a 1 minute timer, which I don't know if Rosemary's put on yet. It's probably already been 15 seconds or so. I see Zaal is laughing here. Okay, cool. Glad you enjoyed it, Candy. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you did last week's event. Really appreciate it, and wonderful meeting you, and really appreciate you joining again. Thank you, Will. Nice presentation. Appreciate it very much. And so we have next topic from Rosmari, next topic from Eric, and next topic from Will. So we can move on to the next topic now. All right. We did the first next topic Fractal Forum thing successfully. Way to go, everybody. Woohoo. All right, putting out the claps and the party emojis. Sounds good. Okay, so maybe I'll go ahead, and I know Eric had proposed this topic, so maybe if Eric wants to share some thoughts about it and kind of lead it, that might be cool. But also first I'll just bring up just a screen just so everybody can see where we're at with the topics. So if anyone wants to keep on voting on topics throughout, right now we've discussed Fractal Forums after Town Hall, and the most highly upvoted topic is what is the name of our product. And then there's 5 other topics. Will wrote next topic here, but and just writing it in the Zoom chat was sufficient. If anybody wants to suggest more topics, once again, you could say like, I have this topic, I want to discuss cats or something like that. Then you can discuss cats and hit send. And then if you want to upvote that, we can discuss cats. But otherwise, after this topic, if we have more time, then we'll discuss one of these 3 topics, or whichever one has more votes at that time. And now we'll pass it over to Eric to discuss and maybe introduce this topic about what is the name of our product.
Product naming is an interesting thing, doing lots of marketing. So the biggest thing is, how are you going to introduce this, sell it to customers and not make them work real hard? So one thing is you come up with a name that's easy and memorable, like Slido. The problem is then you have to do a lot of marketing to teach people what Slido is. So, or you think of a cool name like Slack. If I said, do you want to use Slack? For those that don't know, Slack is it's kind of like an email application, but you can jump into any email stream, even if you just join the company today and search. It's very cool, but if I just said Slack, you go, what is it? So it's nice that you get people easy to remember, but then you have to do a marketing to teach people what the heck a Slack is. The other thing you can do is you can describe what it does. You know, this thing, it's your appointment manager. Oh, okay, so that's what it does. It manages appointments. Another lens you can look at it is the impact it has. it managed your appointment, but so what? So you can come with a name that talks about the impact, what it does. You can come with a cool name, but for my perspective, I just want to get lots of people using it, and I want to get people to use it who have no idea all the technical. If I mention blockchain or anything, they don't even know, because that's easier. So I want to take the hardest case first and introduce it to tons of people that aren't technical, that I can get using this and having real impact, so they could say, oh, everybody should use this thing. So just some thoughts on naming. Oh, and the other thing is, can you get a domain name for it? That's another that's another consideration. If we want to make a web page or a landing page, that's nice if there's a domain that's easy to use.
You're muted.
Thanks, Rosmari. Great points, Eric. Thanks so much. Curious, I see Rosmari, if you wanted to say anything else, then feel free. If anybody else wants to jump in, then feel free to answer. I don't know if, Eric, you provided a name for our product, so I'm curious if you do have a suggestion or like a proposal. Also, I see Zaal's unmuted too.
Yeah, is the name for the product not right now Eden Fractal, or am I misunderstanding what we're talking about?
Eden Fractal is the group, and our job is to make lots of products that do different things.
I see. The tool that we're specifically talking about, that product.
We're talking about a tool. We're talking about a first minimum viable product that we said, this tool by Eden Fractal, you should use it because it's great. And
I
so
got you. Okay. Yep, makes sense.
So we're looking at creating the first product in our product portfolio. And I think the first thing that we do for me, it's about team building, culture building, building trust and respect. So for me, it's about the people.
100% the community building. I definitely think that community building is the thing that drew me to coming here. And I definitely think that respect game, like in some capacity, could be that, packaged product already in a sense.
Well, it's kind of like, for me, it's a team builder, for this. But after that, Rosmari is kind of had some discussions a while back. Well, the next step is, okay, now we have a team. Teams get bored if they're just being, oh, yay, we're a team. So then we need to go into strategy builder or decision maker. So, I think I posted a picture a few weeks ago from a paper that a group I'm with did, and it talks about building culture, using that culture to build a strategy, and then building a structure to support that strategy, and then operations. So I see whatever we do should facilitate that whole thing. When we talk about our product portfolio, it allows people to get together, connect, remove dysfunction, minimize dysfunction, basically create strategies together, create structures, and then go into operations. And by the way, the group I'm with is doing some really interesting things in terms of experience management, which I think will be really cool, creating experience and managing what that experience actually is and doing that. So
all right, fascinating. Is that Candy?
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I was gonna say, just kind of thoughts around the name. Well, actually, it's kind of funny. Now that I'm gonna say this, is I thought something like thoughts, could be interesting. Kind of like, yeah. Did you put in your thoughts, or did you gather your thoughts, or I collected my thoughts? I feel like that could be cool. Or maybe also like 2 cents, like, did you put in your 2 cents, or did you, kind of, it's kind of, I guess, going after the action that you're doing, in kind of like, I guess, not too slang of a way, but kind of a little bit slang, kind of a natural way of saying it. I feel like sometimes when you package products that are in that natural way, like I always think of like the word like hangout. I was mentioning this to Zaal yesterday. My mom used to be like, I don't understand what that word hangout means, but like we all know what just to hang out means. So like I feel like sometimes when you package a product with that sort of natural kind of slang or casual lingo that comes out, like, yeah, I put in my 2 cents, or I gathered my 2 cents, or I put in my thoughts, or that was kind of my idea.
Very interesting. Thank you, Candy. By the way, I put up, I see Gudasol shared some messages in chat too. And then one thing I can mention, Slido also has this feature. It has like several different types of polls that you can do. And one of the polls I just put up is like an open answer. It's called, or like an open, like you can just write whatever answer you want. It's just, what is the name of a product? I'd put in respect game as well after I heard Zaal speaking. I was thinking of putting in 2 cents or thoughts, as Candy was just saying. But anyway, we can do this. I see, for example, Will just put in co-action in there. So I think it should be pretty intuitive. You should, if you're on a desktop, you should be able to see it on the right side of your screen, the Slido, where it should pull it up for you. It says, what is the name of the product? And you can answer there if you want. Or if you're on mobile, then there should be a little green S circle in the bottom right corner that you can click to. So if anyone wants to add any answers there, then feel free. I see Rosmari's asking 2 cents to like $0.02. I don't know if you want to clarify that, Candy, or if you want to ask. Would it be happy to hear from people more? And feel free to jump in. Also, Gudasol shared an interesting comment too. So feel free if anyone wants to jump in and further elaborate. I could read out Gudasol's comment too, but would be happy if Gudasol wants to share that out loud, or if anyone wants to add more to the poll that's open right now. Also, Andy.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, it could be like going back to the availability of a domain name. You could do like 2 cents, as in like, you know, the money term, or you could do like, I don't know, you could go on the 2 cents as in TOO, like I'm included, and then cents as in like one of my 5 senses. There's a few different ways you could spin it.
I like your thinking. It's very creative. My question is, if we think where this product goes, I'm well familiar with 2 cents in the US. Is that pretty much of a global thing, or is that a US thing? I've never thought about it.
It might be a US thing. I mean, I don't know. I feel like,
it's definitely a US thing. Unfortunately, other countries, or at least the ones that I know of, different currencies that aren't called cents, they have the same like equivalent of like a small dollar and a big dollar in a sense. But I don't think they're called cents. I don't know, Rosmari, what do you guys use?
It doesn't matter. It just, would they understand the phrase? You know, there's a lot of phrases, like no matter where you go, you know, I hear people using okay in all languages, for example. It's funny, you're listening to Italian or something, okay. You know, that's just used so people it's just whether people understand it. And I'm not saying that's not a definite killer. It just is a consideration is, you know, what you always say, where is a product going to be used and do they get it? Like, you know, Nova didn't work well in Latin America. Instead of being like, they thought, oh, Nova won't go. So that's not a good name for a car.
Yeah, no, I think definitely we'd want to research that point, but for sure. But I don't know. I think I was picturing kind of as if maybe it was more of a younger crowd. Maybe it was you know, like a high school, college kind of crowd doing this sort of thing. That's kind of what I was envisioning. So it may not work so well for the professional or for the global. But I will say that, as to Zaal's point about the respect game, when he explained it the very first time to me, whenever he said like the respect game, whenever I was operating the DAO, we used coordinate. And that's like, it's kind of the similar sort of, you award the contributors, everybody has tokens to award each month. But anyways, as soon as he said the respect game and he explained it, I knew exactly what it was. So to Zaal's point, I think the respect game is also a very valid, perfect name.
Thanks for the feedback, Candy. That's really helpful and really good to know. And yeah, so some of the people at Coordinate too, they have a really interesting product as well. And I like the idea about 2 cents as well, especially the like the two like more and then sense, like your senses, because it's like sense making. So I think it can for sure have different brands and different products, or like have a similar product but brand in different ways for different communities. And I also love the respect game too as a brand, and I think that's the one that's been the most prevalent, and the one that I think we should focus our energy around mostly, but also really interested in, especially like this fractal forums one. This could be and there's several different kinds of products with these kinds of consensus games, several different kinds of consensus games that we can build, and 2 cents is a really interesting one for like this kind of like collaborative like decision making and sense making process. And sense making is important. I also want to read out, I saw Gudasol said that his mic isn't working, but he had written that he likes thinking of names, perhaps something like Sen Games, which is a play on consensus, SEN games. He says Eden and Fractal are both unclear words associated with other things, or a name that plays with a word related to consensus and a word related to team building. That's something he's thinking about and could be helpful to inspire some thoughts about this too. If anyone wants to jump in, share some thoughts, I have a little bit more I can share, and some thoughts about products. I think that the name of a product, and I suppose further emphasis on how I'm thinking about the respect game as a product, but then also other parts that go along with that.
I just want to say I like the name respect game, and I also think 2 cents could be really cool. TLSENSE.
What was the last thing you said? TLNSE?
CE, my bad. Cent, but you know what I mean.
Oh, okay, yeah,
the,
right. Okay.
The 1 of 5 cents. My bad.
Okay.
I'm just bad at spelling.
All good.
Yeah, just I will warn against trying to be too clever. Remember, we're making it easier for customers, and if sometimes we think things, I've done this tons of times in marketing, this is so cool, we come up and people are like, yeah, I don't get it. So just remember, the more clever you make it, the more work we have to do to teach people, what this means. So I just add that as a caution. But you also have to say, it's not about how we feel about the name. It's how easy do we make it for our customers to get the value that we provide. And a catchy name like 2 cents, people go, oh, okay, you got my attention. So that's part of the process, is getting attention. So a cool name that's easy is memorable. That respect has some. My only question of the 2 cents, is that universal? Respect game, that's a pretty good name. We like it. I have questions because when we've had people on there, it seems to reach people different ways. So we like it all, but I'll give you just we need to think of use cases. That's the way to do it. And my use case is, I'm going to go to nonprofits and convince them that motivating volunteers is the way for them to get more donations, higher quality, quantity of services, and lower operating costs. And the way to do that is with this product. So I'm trying to relate it right to what I asked them what they most want out of the 3 things they want. I did my research and link that all to volunteer motivation. And so, for me, it's all about, you need to motivate. If you want this, you need to motivate your volunteers. And the best way to do that is with 2 cents, a respect game, or whatever. So I have some concerns, or think through putting the word game in that. Although gamification is huge, how's it perceived? It perceives fine with us. I have no problem with it at all. But I worry about when I go to other people and say, oh, and the best way to motivate volunteers is with the respect game, and they may go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So if we decide we like that name, I will be product testing it like crazy. Whatever we come up with, I'm going to ask a whole bunch of people that question to try it out. But I want to make sure we're in sync with whatever I'm trying out to test.
I like the respect game as a name too. So can we not reach consensus and have it officially as a respect game name?
We could. Yeah. Was something you were gonna say there, Zaal?
No, I just like the terminology game, as Eric was saying. I think that there's something to it where you're not just asking someone to come like, oh, like come join this networking meeting, right? It's like, oh, come play this respect game with me. Like I think it's an easier sell. I really like that in the terminology for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think and I see Gudasol, right? He also likes game too. And yeah, I love the respect game. I think games are really important for serious matters as well. But also at the same time, some people don't hear and see it in the same way too. So we should market it in ways and figure out ways to market it for everybody.
I just went and looked up all the keywords for people worrying about this stuff, and game didn't come up when I first did it. Mm-hmm. And we've had people on here before that didn't like that. So for me, I don't have a personal thing. I just care about how it fits in. So I mean, imagine I'm going to ask you for a contract for $40,000 or more for us to come in and help you with this thing. We just have to make sure that if we're coming in to help them with the respect game, they're going, yes, I would sign that check. That sounds great.
Well, when you put it that way, when you put it that way, it definitely doesn't sound good for you to just come in with your 2 cents.
And based on your feedback there, Eric, I would say if I'm a check writer and you presented me with like a game idea, the first question would come to my mind is, what makes your game so special? There's millions of games out there, right?
Well, there's also the idea is, when I look it up, it comes in the words like organizational development, team building. Those are things that they're used to doing. But realize that's my market that I'm excited about doing. That may not be the whole market, so I may have to take the hit. If we view this as serving a bigger market and that fits better, that just means I have to do a lot more work on the marketing side to explain to them why they should be playing a game. They should. I don't doubt that. Gamification is big, and I have a few paragraphs in my dissertation to talk about why it's big and prove that these things do things. But do I have to lead? When do I have to bring that in? Do I bring it way down the stack in the presentation, or do I have to put it up front? And if we say game, that means right up front in mine, I have to convince them that they need to play a game. If not, I just need to convince them that there's a tool that does team building, organizational development, and gets them what they want. And also, it's really part of decision making, but I don't think this tool is there yet. What we're doing now, we're starting to add on to that. After we build the team, we have to do that, but I don't think this is part of just think of it this way. This is part of our decision making portfolio of products, because that's really what our mission vision says we're out. It's really part. So think about this. This has to fit into our portfolio too. This suite of what we call it, we haven't figured out what our ultimate suite is and what our ultimate product is, but just think about that this is part, this isn't a product by its own. It's, it's kind of like Microsoft Office. This is your whole suite that you do for minimizing dysfunction and decision making and, bringing people together, all that kind of stuff. So this is part of that. So that's something else to consider.
I think so far we have spent majority of time playing and improving the respect game mainly. So
No,
we,
this
we,
is our
we
definitely our
could
product.
have plenty of products and services around it, I think. And
Yeah.
also about the point where how you can go about explaining a respect game to someone that is not familiar with games, I guess. I don't think there's anyone not familiar with games to begin with. And if anything, you can say, oh, we call it a game, but actually it's something else. So I think there's a way to go around that.
Well, there
depending on
is.
the audience.
There's no doubt there's a way to go around anything. We could call this
Mhm.
trash compactor and I could sell it, but that's not the point. The point is how much work do we have to do to get somebody to use this? And the more difficult we make it, the more pressure you're putting on your marketing and sales team to get
Why
this done.
do you think we make it
Usually,
difficult with calling it a respect game?
well, okay, if we want to call it the spec game, I will go test that out. But
Well, we kind of have
you
been
know,
testing it.
the key is, do we lead with, by the way, we sell games and we've got a game that will do this. So then we have to get in the game mindset. So first, what we have to do then is convince people that playing a game is what they need to do. So
But
if we
why
call
not?
it a game, then I have to convince people, because who else in that market is doing that? If you're going to go sell decision
That's the
making,
differentiation point. That's the unique selling point of it.
okay, but you know what? We could be psychological counseling. So this could be psychological development. We could talk about team counseling. Then I'd have to go convince them why they need team counseling, when all they're going about is, are you going to make me better? So is gaming the way to go better? It just means I have to add that right up front to the sales pitch.
Well, you can just tell them that, like,
Take the
someone's
word just. I'll
someone's
agree with anything you say. Just take the word just out of your phrase. You don't just that, when you put that big baggage in there, it's not just, it's, yeah, we can do that, but it's I would just do all this hard stuff and add all this extra work. It'd be easy. I could just. So as long as you take just out of your statement, I'm with you. Yes, we can come up with a package to lead with the fact that they should be playing games, when what I'm talking about is, digital in the other things I'm doing when I add this support, I'm talking about digital transformation and all that. So I can do this and I'm willing to do this. I just want us to make sure that we're not just reacting, we're thinking. But you make very good points.
okay.
There's I'm sorry, I was going to say there's a person and that I want to I'll find him and put him in the chat here, but his name is Yukai Chow, and he's known as the godfather of gamification, and he developed the Octalysis Prime Octalysis. It's called Octalysis because there's 8 points of, you have 8 core. There's white hat motivation, and then there's the other black hat motivation. But it's basically a framework for gamification that he invented, and he's like famous for it. And I actually got to spend a lot of time with him in the beginning, and he was been hired by Uber, Google, all the top big companies, basically to come in and gamify their really boring stuff. So like safety stuff and like other things that like nobody wants to do. He's been brought in to just gamify all this really boring stuff. So I think that there is a really big market for like enterprise level to want sort of gamification with that gets their employees to do what they want. And the vibes that I get from like the respect game is like, whenever you said, why would you play this game? I feel like the answer to that is because other people play it too. And I feel like that's because you could have like every large community, or so let's just say Target, Walmart, and like Kmart's not even around, but the Target, Walmart, and Kmart all play the respect game. Maybe you are K-Bucks at Kmart, or you are Bullseye Bucks at Target, and you own whatever, Walmart Bucks, Wally World, bucks there, but you all play the respect game. So when those like employees or maybe their friends in the neighborhood and they say, oh yeah, we play the respect game. Yeah, we play the respect game. Everybody knows what that is, even though maybe it's slightly different or maybe different units of measurement are, out there. But then also that could be like a strategy way of marketing is to collaborate with other like-minded businesses, or like you were saying, other clubs, communities, or charities that are like in the same field, and everybody plays the respect game. And that way, like you could even coordinate kind of like competitions between like respect of it. Anyways, that's my feel. That's my vibe from it all.
Well, but then and that's great points, but now we're in the gamification business. So what does it take to say everybody plays this? So to build that market is not that you just go and you go to Walmart and say, would you like to play the respect game? And they go, oh yeah, I'm in. And then you go to Target and say, well, Walmart's playing the respect game. Don't you want to play the respect game though? Oh yeah, I'm in. There's a lot of work to get that, build that market, but then we're in the gamification business. And that's okay. But then we have to realize that our first thing in there is you need to improve your business through gamification. We become a game, and there is a market for that, no doubt. But then that's the business we're in. So we need to decide whether in the gamification business or decision-making business. Now you can use the gamification business and use that for decision-making. We could be in the decision-making business and use gamification. So it's not that stuff isn't, it's just like what part in the sales and marketing funnel do you bring that in there? And I'll just give you one example. When I ran a performance marketing agency, we had this CEO that wanted to put, oh, but we're secure. That has to be up front. Oh, it has to be front. I go, but you're not in security, or your product it just is secure. So go down that does this. And by the way, you should get this because secure. No, I got to lead with the security. Yeah, is sales just too, because people go, oh, I have to worry about security. They don't want to listen to the rest of the things. So even though we tried to build this big thing on leading, it just depends on what you lead with, is what I'm saying. It makes a big difference in how you sell and distribute and mark and brand, all this stuff.
Needed. All right. Fascinating conversation. We're just at the top of the hour too, so I want to start winding it down. We can go a bit over time if we want, but also want to respect everybody's time. And I see that's just been a fascinating conversation all around. Rosmari sharing some messages in the chat. Said Candy on fire, and there's a lot of work to do. Anything big, really. I don't know if Rosmari, you want to say anything that loud, then feel free to do so. That might be a good idea. And then maybe I'll get into my presentation to help wrap us up after you go.
I don't know if I want to go because there's 2 minutes left, so I don't want to take time. You can
Okay.
go.
Do you want to just say what you said in the chat, or just let everybody read that?
I just said whenever we've mentioned the respect game, people seem to get it and like it, especially in Optimism Fractal, for example, which is a new event, relatively new event, less than half a year, in a new ecosystem, in optimism, so we've been getting positive feedback on this name, and yeah, of course it depends on who the audience is, and it's important to change your language and the way you communicate and sell things depending on the audience. That's kind of like a well-known thing, and connections are key. Building connections in key spots where you want to promote. So
all right, good points. Thank you, Rosmari. I see Will has his hands up too. If anybody else wants to share some last thoughts before we wrap it up, then feel free. If anybody needs to go to the top of the hour too, then then feel free to leave whenever you need to. We might wind up going a few minutes over, probably, but happy to wrap it up. And at some point soon, I have a little presentation that I'll share after Will and anybody else who wants to share any last thoughts.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to go now, but thanks for the conversation.
Thank you.
It was very inspiring, to say the least, and spirited too. So I'll say, Dan, so how did this work? So if we only covered like 2 topics in here, right, in our Q&A section, did the other ones just automatically carry over to the next? session, or does it reset?
That's a good question. I think the way it works is just it'll reset basically, where anybody can propose topics. We have the Cagendas system where people can just propose topics each week. And then if people wanted to play this kind of Fractal Forums game again, which I intend to propose again for next week, then we would just, I suppose we can carry it over, just make it simple, or we can propose new topics entirely. Maybe it is easier if I just carry them over, but then of course we can make new topics throughout the week as well. Hope that answers your question. Feel free to ask for any clarification like that. And because we're at the hour, maybe I'll just jump into the winding down presentation so that we can get going on our days. So this has been a wonderful event discussing ingenious topics. So thanks everybody so much. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Rosmari for making the beautiful, majestic art too. And this has been the first kind of Fractal Forums we've done too. So thanks everybody for this experience. It's been really fun and fascinating. There was some other answers to the name of the product, Grow, Hoard, and Gilder too. I don't know who put those up, but thanks for sharing some ideas. Very interesting. And there's also some more topics that had been put up too. Rosmari put, what is Eden Fractal for each of us? And Zaal put up, how can we support new fractals with monthly or weekly reviews between fractals to share best practices? There's some ideas about higher order fractals and some other ideas we can share too. So yeah, I'll save these topics for next week as Will had kind of asked about and suggested, and then we can save all these. And if anyone wants to discuss any other topics, then feel free to share it in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat throughout the week, and then we can just play the same game next week. It's been really cool. And then yeah, just real quick, the Yaku Chow, thanks so much, Candy, for sharing. I have heard of him. He does great work. So yakuchow.com, and she shares some links to his Twitter and this article and video on Real Vision, which is a really interesting podcast. So I'm going to look into that and look forward to learning about it. And he has a TED Talk. So thanks so much for that. I also have an article, edencreators.com/games too, where there's several books that are really interesting about the use of games, finite games and infinite games, and Wonderland, how play made the modern world. Several different things I've been curating here. So if anyone check that out, I think these are some materials we can use to share the importance of games. And then we have the Respect Game, Optimism Style / Respect Game, an app that we're developing for Respect Game. And so we'll see how this goes. And I really appreciate everybody's support for it. And we can also build up different brands too. And I'm really excited about that. I had some other links here too about public goods games and gamification and stuff that I've been thinking about there, but maybe I'll wrap up there. Just the last thing I'll say is that thanks everybody so much for joining us today at Eden Fractal event. Great to see you, Gudasol too. And we'll be here again on next Wednesday at 16 UTC for our 100th event. Maybe we should do something extra special for our 100th event too. And if you have any ideas about the other topics that we didn't discuss, then feel free to share in the chat. For example, planning for our 2-year anniversary, if you have any ideas. And we're meeting for Optimism Fractal to play the Respect Game tomorrow at 17 UTC. On Thursdays, as we do, it'll be the 3rd event of the season, and we're also hosting the 2nd ever Optimism Town Hall, and invite everybody to join at 18 UTC on Thursday. And tomorrow at the Town Hall, we'll be playing the Optopics game, or the Optopics game with Opie, the Optimist, and we'll be playing a similar game where we vote with respect on topics. So invite everybody to join and help us with this collaborative process to figure out the best way to implement these fractal decision-making processes throughout society and help all communities and organizations make the best decision-making possible, fast, fair, and fun, with games and whatever else that helps people. We can wrap it up and go 3, 2, 1, go Eden Fractal whenever. But also, I see Rosmari said, thank you everyone for the great discussion. Amazing week ahead. Really cool glasses, Gudasol. I appreciate you turning the camera on. Hope that you're doing great. Hope that everybody's doing great. Hope that everybody enjoyed the episode. If anybody has any last thoughts you want to share real quick, then feel free. Otherwise, we can go 3, 2, 1, go Eden Fractal whenever we're ready. I see Will's unmuted. Anything you want to share? Or maybe I'll give it like 5 seconds. And if nobody jumps in, then we'll go start counting down.
I was ready for the countdown, to be honest.
Yeah, let's go for the countdown.
Okay, let's do it. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Go
Eden
Fractal!
Eden Fractals!
All right, thanks everybody so much. Really appreciate it, everybody. Great discussion, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.